Today, I am working on a silver half-groat from the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Look at this legendary coat of arms, the knight on horseback, known as the Pursuit. On the reverse, we find the crowned eagle, the coat of arms of Poland. Even through the grime of centuries, the bird's majestic pose remains clear. This is the hallmark of the Jagiellonian era, waiting to shine once more. We can distinguish the number 13. This confirms that the coin was minted during the reign of Sigismund I, also known as Sigismund the Old, in the year 1513. This coin was discovered in a swampy area, which explains the thick layer of black patina and horn silver covering it. Because of this environment, I've decided to restore it to a proper collectible condition, carefully removing the damage of centuries. Examining the coin under a microscope, we can clearly see that it is made of low-grade silver. Traces of other metals, such as copper, have surfaced through oxidation. My task today is to carefully remove these impurities without damaging the fragile silver core. A critical task is stabilizing the blisters, those swollen corrosion spots on the surface. They are incredibly fragile. I need to reinforce these areas to stop the decay and save the coin's integrity. To start, I'll use a soft, lint-free swab and Silbo cleaning cream. It's a specialized formula that gently removes corrosion products from ancient silver without harming the delicate surface. Let's look closer under the microscope. This cream delicately removes layers of grime while preserving the sharp details of the relief. There are even more precise ways to handle this, but I'll save those for my future videos on cleaning similar coins. While the cleaning continues, let's dive into history. This half-groat was struck at the Vilnius Mint, the heart of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. In 1513, King Sigismund the Old was modernizing the economy. He chose this specific design, the knight and the eagle, to symbolize the unbreakable union between Lithuania and Poland. The knight in pursuit wasn't just a decoration, it was a display of military might during the wars with Moscow. But what could this coin buy? In the early 16th century, a few of these silver coins could pay for a day's worth of food for a modest family. However, their most common use was for military pay. Mercenary soldiers and noble cavalrymen often received their wages in these half-groats. For a common soldier, a handful of these represented a month of dangerous service on the borderlands. You might wonder why we find so many of them today. The reason is simple: instability. People didn't have banks, so they buried their savings in the ground. These pot hoards were often lost during raids or fires. Also, the swampy terrain where this coin was found acted like a time capsule. The wet soil created that thick, horn silver crust we're fighting right now, preserving a piece of the Jagiellonian Golden Age for 5 centuries. This coin was hidden in a secluded spot, tucked away in the marshes along a riverbank. The location is fascinating. It appears to be an ancient camp. There's a perfect circular earthwork there, exactly where a large tent or marquee once stood. It's as if time stood still in this small ring of earth. This wasn't an isolated find. I discovered this half-groat alongside coins from Sigismund's predecessors. But the most intriguing object was a trade seal from the city of Leuven. Finding a Flemish trade seal here proves that this remote riverside camp was once a node in a vast commercial network, connecting these marshes to the great European trade routes. After the initial cleaning with the cream, it's time to rinse the coin in warm water. I'm doing this in a plastic container for a very important reason. In the past, I've had accidents while rinsing over a sink. The water pressure can easily knock a coin out of your hand. Dropping an ancient, fragile coin onto a hard surface, like a ceramic sink, can cause serious damage. Using a container is a simple way to keep the history safe. So, the first stage is complete. However, because this specialized optical cleaning swab has a flat shape, some black residue still remains deep in the recesses of the relief. It's actually quite difficult to remove from there. I'm going to apply the cream once more and let it soften this stubborn oxidation a little longer. After applying the cream a second time, the black residue has softened a bit, but it's clear that the cream alone won't be enough to remove it completely. Some areas are just too stubborn for a chemical solution alone. As the black grime recedes, those blisters I mentioned earlier have finally surfaced. They were completely hidden under the oxidation. This is exactly why cleaning this coin is so vital. Without removing the crust, we wouldn't have seen these hidden threats to the silver. Under the microscope, we can clearly see the areas that require a different approach. These spots won't respond to the cream, so I'll have to use a more specialized method to treat them properly. For a deeper clean, I'm going to use a 10% ammonia solution. It's highly effective and will deal with this task quickly. But there is a critical point. You must watch the coin constantly. In a solution like this, every second counts to prevent overcleaning. Once the time is up, I remove the coin from the ammonia solution. Now, I'll go over it again using a cotton swab. At this stage, a standard swab works much better for cleaning deep inside the hard-to-reach details of the relief. I'm careful to use the swab without any pressure. I want the grime to fall away on its own rather than forcing it off. There is also a method involving citric acid, but I personally avoid it. I've had some unsuccessful experiences with acid in the past, and I prefer the control that ammonia gives me. Now that the coin is fully cleaned, behind the scenes, I had to finish some areas mechanically, as the black residue was simply too stubborn for chemistry alone. My next step will be patination. This is essential to give the silver a natural look and protect its surface after such a deep cleaning. Now, for one of my favorite methods for patinating silver, a hot, chlorine-based solution. While it's incredibly effective, it's also one of the most hazardous substances for your health. Safety is paramount. You must always work under a ventilation hood or in a well-ventilated area. Never skip this step when handling such toxic fumes. After the solution, I carefully remove any moisture and let the coin react with the air to develop its patina. Inevitably, the old problem areas will darken again. To fix this, I use my own secret formula. It removes the uneven blackness, creating a uniform finish, and coats the surface with a chemical film that prevents any future oxidation or spotting. For the formula to work, it must react with the patina. I start by applying it generously with a cotton swab, gently working it into the relief until the dark spots begin to lighten. Sometimes this takes a lot of time. The purer the silver, the faster it works, but this coin is stubborn and continues to resist. After the swab and a short pause, I switch to a brush. Its bristles reach deep into the most difficult areas. I'll keep going until I achieve the perfect result. Although it might not be obvious from the video, this process took a significant amount of time. To achieve a high-quality result, You must be patient. But believe me, it's worth it. A beautiful, even patina only appears when you are in full control. That's why these corrective steps are done manually rather than by dipping the coin. Fumes also work poorly with low-grade silver, as the patina usually ends up blotchy. Manual control is the only way to get it right. Once the desired result is achieved, a transparent film appears on the coin. This is the chemical reaction between my formula and the silver. This film acts as a natural shield, protecting the metal while giving it a soft, authentic luster. However, restoration is never without its challenges. During the intense treatment, I lost focus on one dangerous blister. It was incredibly fragile and crumbled before I could properly reinforce it. It's a reminder that even with years of experience, ancient metal can be unpredictable. Before the final reveal, let's look at the coin through the microscope. A standard camera simply can't capture these fine details. As you can see, the coin has gained incredible depth thanks to the proper patination. This is exactly what separates a simply cleaned coin from a truly finished work of art. Finally, I'm going to reinforce the remaining blisters to ensure they won't crumble or break in the future. I'll be using a specialized polymer for this. It will stabilize the metal and preserve this piece of history for many years to come. And now, the final reveal. This is how a piece of history is given a second life. Stick around for the before and after photos at the end of the video. If you enjoyed this journey, please hit the like button and leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.